Critical Role's Candela Obscura is pushing Lovecraft out of our TTRPGs, and it's about time someone did.
Get out!
Welcome to the Character Sheet, your home for fantasy and TTRPG news, where today we're going to be talking about Critical Role taking on H.P. Lovecraft and why it's so important. So if you like this content, or if you just like our daily TTRPG and fantasy news updates, please take a second to hit those like and subscribe buttons, maybe even click that bell. It really helps and we really appreciate it. But with that said, let's talk Candela Obscura.
It's about damn time.
Critical Role's new TTRPG system, Candela Obscura, named after the actual play series it's used on, was clearly designed to intentionally remove H.P. Lovecraft from their cosmic horror setting. And that is an incredibly important step for the TTRPG scene. Before we dive into that, first, some incredibly short background on me through a few quick true facts. I own every single Arkham Horror board game ever printed, and I once built a giant papier-mâché Cthulhu that my friend lived inside for the better part of a year. Basically, I love the Cthulhu mythos, and I absolutely hate that H.P. Lovecraft created it. H.P. Lovecraft made an amazing universe full of incredible, horrifying imagery and unknowable cosmic horrors, and is one of the greatest world builders of all time, and is also a human dumpster fire. We won't get into all the details, but he was just considered racist even for the 1920s. He was pro-Hitler and a self-proclaimed fascist. Just generally a terrible human being. So that makes it all the more annoying that when it comes to horror-based RPGs, you generally only have two choices: Lovecraft or monsters. You're either playing a system based on Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos, or you're playing a setting about monsters like Werewolf the Apocalypse, Vampire the Masquerade, etc. The vast majority of horror tabletop role-playing games fit into one of those two categories, which means if you're a fan of horror and TTRPGs, your money and your time often went into supporting the legacy of H.P. Lovecraft. And because so much of his work is in the public domain, it's incredibly cheap for TTRPG publishers to keep churning out more and more product based on the Cthulhu mythos. And the cycle just keeps on going. And you can't really blame them because it's a huge, well-made universe and most of it's in the public domain. But maybe Candela Obscura can finally change that. Talesin Jaffe, Spencer Stark, Rowan Hall, and the rest of the Darrington Press team that worked on this setting have painstakingly replaced all the Lovecraftian elements, which were also honestly starting to get a bit stale after 100 years, with new, unique takes on cosmic horror. Gone is Arkham and Innsmouth, and instead you have Newfair and the Fairlands. Gone are Cthulhu and the Elder Gods, and instead you have a fallen civilization of terrible alchemical magics that still spawn abominations and mysteries of their own. That feeling of being overwhelmed, of being an insignificant speck in the face of something older and more powerful than you can ever imagine, still remains. You are still an investigator delving into ancient horrors and conspiracies too vast and unsettling to contemplate, just without the unpleasant aftertaste of it being created by a guy who was big into Hitler. And you can tell it's got that Victorian Gothic gaslight horror feel because they spell magic with a K. Candela Obscura is the first time fans of Lovecraft-inspired settings will really have a chance to play something that's completely new and fresh while capturing all the essence and the atmosphere of Lovecraft's work, minus the author himself. And that's not to throw any shade at publishers like Chaosium for creating games like Call of Cthulhu, which I love and have personally played. We understand how amazing the setting is, and just the nature of public domain making it so affordable for publishers to build a game system around kind of makes it inevitable. We're simply happy that someone with the time, money, and resources to create a viable alternative has finally arrived. And if you want to go on playing your Lovecraft-themed campaign, that's fine too. It's an amazing setting, and sometimes you just have to find a way to separate the artist from the art. We understand. But the important thing is that for the first time, fans of that genre now have a choice, and that is why Candela Obscura really matters to the tabletop RPG scene, and why we can't wait to get a game going ourselves. So what do you think? Is Candela Obscura everything you hope for, or do you still miss Cthulhu? Let us know in the comments, and feel free to toss us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.